Okay, lighter practice today without the pads. A lot of situational work to get done, and so we need these times in camp, where you take a little bit off the shoulders and the head and all the hitting that goes on, and really concentrate on some mental stuff and some really little things within schemes and formations.
Is Andre back?
Yeah, Andre did everything today, and so we'll continue to push him and see.
If you had pads on, would he have been able to do the same?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. We're just going to push him.
How do you think he did?
Well, like we said, it wasn't a physical practice.
Mm-hmm.
Mentally, he's been into it. He's done a really good job, and preparing, coming in early, and he's very focused. And you can see that by what he did to his body. He's serious about being really good.
Has he gained the weight back at all that you wanted him to gain back?
He's put on a couple, and so I think it's hard to do during camp, even though he still does some other stuff that you guys don't see working out wise. So it'll be hard to do during camp, but hopefully as we slow down our two-a-day process, he will.
What Craig was talking about, Max is a guy that has sort of left brain, right brain can go. Now, does that now give Max the ability to back up on both tackles?
It could. I don't think we'd like to do that. It would be really hard to be a true freshman and get really good at playing both sides. So, we're going to try to focus him on where we need him most.
What did you want to see from Andre today?
Just whatever the best he could do. Like I said, it wasn't very physically challenged, so I think tomorrow will be a whole other test.
Ever since you've been here, you've had Nickel on one side at cornerback, solid, reliable, same guy every time. On the other side, it seems like it's kind of changed all the time, and it still seems like it's sort of a revolving door. What's your sort of assessment of where things are at with that second cornerback spot?
Well, I don't think it would be that way if Torrin wouldn't have got hurt. Torrin arguably was playing as well or better than Nickel at that time. That's early in Nickel's sophomore year. Nickel really came on as we got into the to Cal, especially Notre Dame, and then on after that. So Torrin was playing really, really well, and is longer than Nickel and has an NFL-type body and skills. So I think that obviously the injury to Nickel, an injury to Torrin, has been what's made that happen.
What's Anthony Brown been showing you?
Anthony's very competitive. I think Anthony's a really good tackler, really gets into it. Like I said, physical at the line of scrimmage, and he, before he got hurt, he was playing pretty well too.
Is all the weight that Kevin Graff put on since last season, can that help him in an actual game situation? Do you think the 25 pounds he's put on?
Kevin Graff?
Yeah, that's what he said. He said he's 20 pounds heavier than what he played at last year.
I didn't know that. That's news. He's hiding it well. Kevin's big thing is Kevin has gotten stronger this offseason. His body has gotten better. I don't know if it was 20 pounds, but he is stronger. He's more physical at the point, and to go to the next step from playing well and to playing really well, like the guys have done here before, that was needed.
Like a week ago, Robert was on a one practice a day schedule, and then a day like today, it looks like he runs 10 miles. I mean, is it a surprise?
No, because he's still on the same format. He's still on one a day, and so when we do have the two-a-days, he sits out in the morning usually.
But he looks like he just puts so much. I mean, he doesn't look like he's favoring anything or being careful.
Yeah, I think that's close to accurate. But also that's him. He's so competitive. He's going to try to be there. He tries to jump in the two-a-days when he's not supposed to be in there. That's that mindset that our however many are 6 or 7 great ones have.
What have you seen out of Gerald Bowman so far, and what are your plans for him this year?
Gerald Bowman's going to be, the next scrimmage is going to be very critical. To see we haven't had a guy in spring. We know so little about him on the field. Gerald's done a really good job mentally, and now we've got to see how's he going to tackle in our live periods. It's one of the big disadvantages of to play safe the way that we do for the most part in training camp with our numbers is we just don't tackle very much. And so unfortunately it doesn't give you a great complete evaluation.
Was that supposed to be one of his strengths coming in off the film and everything?
Yeah, it was. I mean, on film, Gerald ran really fast, really well, and tackled very physical.
When you look at your defensive ends working out, and you've got 4 standing there who aren't practicing, and Devontae, any thoughts of maybe that's a position we have to start thinking about? What if?
Well, there's a lot of thoughts about it, but there's just not really places to go. That's said it before. That's where the 10 take its toll. That's a couple extra guys that probably on the line. Is where we normally would put our extra guys. So it is what it is, and we've got to try to keep our guys as healthy as we can. That's why we practice the way that we do, and we've got to try to steal reps in games from guys here and there whenever we can.
Is Charles Burks an option to move back and kind of like back and forth?
Yeah, we talked about it. Didn't think it was very fair to him to do it again. So we're not doing that right now.
It seems like a lot of times last season you guys utilized Brandon Carswell as your almost your go-to blocker as a receiver. Do you have anyone that you can count on like that this year?
Well, our two starting guys are really physical, and Robert and Marquise. We don't have that exact guy, and that's kind of our really team issue. You guys have heard me say it before. We don't have a lot of upperclassmen backups. When you start looking, there's not many upperclassmen, period, and they're just, that's what you're missing. And so we have to do what we do. We actually overplay guys a lot of times. And so luckily, Devon Flournoy has done some of that stuff. He's not exactly like Carswell yet, but he's helping us out.
Could a guy like Junior Pomade fill that sort of role if he goes out, lines up outside? I mean, he has the blocking part.
Yeah, I don't know. We haven't seen enough of Junior. He's been out since he's been here. He's been out so much. We just don't know very much about him.
When you look at Silas, 2 weeks you've had him, are you kind of surprised that the transition could have been as smooth as it is almost? Is it almost hard to believe he was somewhere else a few weeks ago?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say surprised because, as you guys know, we have such high expectations for guys we bring in. But very satisfied, I would say yes. And that goes back to who he is. Like I said before, this would not have worked just to bring in a really good player if he wasn't the right person. Because these kids wouldn't have accepted him, because it is, how do you sign a guy for whatever 4 days before you start? That's abnormal. The guy, shows up here 1 day before you start. So he better be the right type of guy who is going to work extremely hard, who's going to be very humble, just like our great players are here. And he is, and I think that's why they've totally accepted him. They have some tables sometimes they sit at certain meetings and stuff, and you would think that he's been here since day one with that class of Robert, because that really is his class.
How did you know he was that guy? Because the sanctions came pretty late in the summer.
Yeah, as soon as they did, we started researching it. Led by his high school coach, and then some other people who had been around him.